All right, it's springtime, so it's time to be thinking about potting plants, your annuals for the garden. And so because it's that time of year, we are going to address the vampire myth of horticulture of putting gravel in the bottom of your pots to improve drainage. So anytime you put potting mix in a pot and you water it, the water will drain down through your mix. We all know it drains out the bottom of your container. But what you don't always realize is at the bottom of your container, after it drains, there's what we call a perched water table, where because of the physical and chemical properties of the water molecule, there's going to be a saturated layer of water here. And if it's saturated, roots are not going to grow there very well. Now the myth is that if you put gravel or some coarse material at the bottom of your pot, it'll get rid of that perched water table, which is not the truth. It's not what happens, and we're going to show you how you demonstrate that. Over here we've got our 5 sponges, which are a perfect analog for soil structure and how water moves through soil. These have been saturated with water, and I'll just pour a little bit more water over them to make sure they're good and saturated. But the water is basically going to drain through those sponges just the way it drains through your potting mix. And when it finishes draining, you've got retained water there. So each of these sponges represents one layer of your potting mix. So if we take the first one off and we squeeze the water out, I'll get as much as I can in that glass. Squeeze it good out. There's the first one. Second one. There's a little soap suds in there. I think that's left over from washing my car. Third one. And fourth. So if you look at those 4 glasses, pretty consistent amount of water. And now we're to the last one. And the last one, as we squeeze it, what you'll find out is there's a whole lot more water. We've almost filled that glass from that lower sponge. And that's because that lower sponge or the lower layer of potting mix in your container is going to have that perched water table. What happens when you put gravel in the bottom is it just raises up that perched water table. And so you further reduce the amount of volume available to the roots. So no gravel, lower perched water table, more room for your roots to grow. The one last bit is if you have 2 containers, one and they're the same volume, one that's short and wide, one that's taller and narrower, this one is going to have a smaller perched water table. It's going to drain better. This one's going to have a larger perched water table, so lower root volume. So taller containers are always better than shorter containers to get good drainage in your containers. So no gravel, myth busted, happy potting.